Hello everyone, welcome back. We're going to be making a card today. It's going to be a simple card. Just want to stock up on my get well cards in case I need them and have them on hand. So I'm going to be using the following items. I'm going to be using Versafine Clair ink in Warm Breeze. I'm going to be using Versamark Embossing Ink, and then Momento and Tuxedo Black for Copic coloring. I have my Tidy Towel by Gina right here, and it's in a close to my heart stamp cleaner container. And then I have white heavy cardstock, card base, and panels. And then I have some stamp sets that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using the Sweet Stamp Shop Plan to Go set, and unfortunately it's not in production anymore. However, you may be able to find it on resale. I'm going to be using Queen & Company Circle Shakers because this is going to be a shaker card. For my sentiment, I'm going to be using Fawn Simple Wavy Banners. I have 3 different sets in here, but I'm really going to be using just the Simple Wavy Banner. And then I'm going to be using their Wavy Sayings from Fawn. I'm going to be using Waffle Flower Skinny Stripes. This is amazing, and I'll show you how I use it. And then Fawn Get Well Soon. This is just such a cute stamp set. I love this. I've used it a couple of times now, so I really love it. This is the shaker foam from Queen & Company. It goes with the circles dies. And then what else am I going to be using? I'm going to be using some Copic markers. Don't know exactly which combination yet, but I'm probably going to be using these. I'll be sure to tell you what color I use when I do use them. And then I'm going to use some craft color cardstock. These are just some scraps that I had. This is from not from Catherine Buller. This is from Gina Designs. And then these colors that I pulled from a small paper pad that's this size from scrapbook.com. Okay, and then what else? The glue I use is Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. I love this one. And I'm going to be using my Empress Mini Electronic Die Cutting Machine. I'm going to be using this purple tape to hold my dies into place when I'm cutting. Oh, and I'm going to be using this holographic overlay. This is something I got on Amazon. I'll be sure to link everything below. It comes in an envelope like this, and it's just, I believe it's, oh no, it's letter size. Okay, yeah, they're letter size that I cut down whenever I need it. A lot of people use this for sticker making, decal making, but I thought I would bring it out and use it in my card making today, so that's going to be fun. And I believe that is everything. Oh, I'm going to be using my mini Misty stamp positioning tool and an occasional paper trim, and I'll be using Tim Holtz. I have this mini one, and then I have a medium one right here off to the side in case I need it to be a little bit bigger. And I think that's it. All right, so let's get started. All right, I think I'm going to make my shaker element first. So in order to do that, I need to stamp and color. So I'm going to go ahead and take this Fawn Get Well Soon set. I'm going to grab the stamp set. I'm also going to grab the little prescription die. This is it right here. I'm just going to put it here. I have this Spellbinders magnetic diamond that kind of sits on your craft table. I love it because that way these are the dies I'm going to be using, and they just kind of stay put right there and they don't go anywhere. So I kind of like that. Oh, and then let me show you this too. I'm also using a mail organizer, an acrylic mail organizer, and this organizes all the stamps that I'm going to be using and supplies that I'm going to be using today. And I really, really like this idea. I got it from my sister. And it's great because otherwise all these things are laying on your desk. Instead, they're in here and they're upright and they take up less craft table space. So I really like that. All right. And then for acrylic blocks, I'm going to be using, this is Gina Designs, and I love these blocks. I just want to bite it, quite frankly. I mean, it just looks like an ice cube and it looks very refreshing and very tasty. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab just a card panel. This is 271 GSM, and I will link it for you below. And I'm just gonna take my Momento ink and the little RX pill bottle, prescription bottle. And I'm just gonna grab it. I don't need my stamp positioner tool for this part. I'm just gonna go ahead and stamp directly. And I'm gonna stamp a few because I wanna make a few cards. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp a few here. So this ink is alcohol marker friendly. Might as well use up this whole card base or card panel. So when I make cards, once I kind of decide on a design, I love to go back and produce multiples of them. That way I'm not starting from scratch every single time. You know what I mean? I like to kind of put several copies of them into my ready-made cards. Also because, you know, I really love a particular design. I mean, I like all the things that I make, and so I don't want to just send out the one card and then that design is gone. Because I like the design so much, I like to send it out to a few people when needed. All right, so that's the Momento ink. I don't think I'm going to need that again anymore. And then I always like to, at the end of my stamping session, so maybe not right now, but I just want to mention it while it's on my mind. After I'm done and I'm cleaning up, all the acrylic blocks that I used, I go in with my tidy towel and I clean them like this, because there's always ink somewhere on them from stamping and crafting time. And so I always clean them and then I put them back. So that's another little tip there. So put that back, put this back. All right, so now we're going to color these. And I love this mat, this glass mat that I have. It's by glassboardstudio.com. I love it because you can buy these magnets on Amazon, and I can put these here and I can just color without this moving around. I just really like that. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with these V's, these violets. I'm going to start with V91 and V93. So 91 is going to be a little bit lighter, and then V93 is going to be my darker ink. And that's what I'm going to use to color the bottle. Okay, so I'm going to avoid the label and the cap. And I'll go ahead and go in with these. I'll probably speed up this process so that you're not bored. But I'm going to go in with these. And I'm starting with my light color first. A lot of people start with the dark color first. It doesn't really matter. It's just a personal preference. My husband is a fine artist, and he used to illustrate for Lakeshore. And he's the one that told me that he always starts light to dark. And so he's the one that I always go to for advice when I'm picking colors and creating, because I'm not very good with colors. And so because he recommends light to dark, that's why I do it. But I would say the majority of card makers who use Copics or other markers like Ohuhu or something like that, it seems like most color dark to light. So I'm the odd one out. So I'm just taking my time coloring the bottles. I'm going to do half of these with this lavender, and then I'm going to do the other half in a teal. And then with my darker color, I'm just going to come in like this and give it a little bit of shading. So So I'm going over the light. Now, I'm not doing like serious blending here because this image, you know, is fairly small and I just don't feel like it needs it. So the cardstock is drying a bit before I'm adding this layer because I'm doing multiples. But it doesn't bother me. I don't need like perfect blends on this. I'm just having fun getting it all done. These little bottles are so cute. Coloring small things is so awesome because it's like instant gratification. It's not like, you know, a couple thousand piece puzzle that it's going to take a while. These little small images just come together so quickly and they're so cute. So that's it. Nothing fancy. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab some teals. I think I had 3 here, but I really only need 2. So I think I'm going to just use BG10 and BG11. So I'm just going to kind of swap this over. I'll use my light color first because I'm a weirdo. That's not nice because that would mean my husband is a weirdo. I just mean that most people go dark to light. That's what I mean. So I got some sweet comments in some videos that I've been posting more recently about my thumb. And it is absolutely getting better. It's just amazing how the body heals itself. I just find that so fascinating. And how amazing doctors are. You know, I mean, they just, it was a very, very, very gruesome injury. It wasn't just a matter of smashing my thumb. I'll just describe it. Obviously, I won't show pictures because it's gnarly. I have shown pictures to some people who wanted to see what happened. My parents did not. Well, my mom and stepdad did not. My dad, on the other hand, was like, send me the pictures. I want to see what happened. And so I did. So anyway, I was putting some tarp to protect some vintage furniture that was in my backyard because my sister was going to take it to her new apartment. And I wanted to place the tarp underneath the furniture to kind of wrap the tarp around it. And which is kind of a silly idea, to put your hand underneath such a large amount of furniture that is very, very, very heavy. I'm just adding a second coat of this darker teal, by the way. Anyway, instead of using 3 colors. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with like these, they're furniture dollies, but they're like more kind of handheld furniture dollies. They're small. And you can pivot it. It's really neat the way the engineering works. You can pivot it and put it under, slide something under your furniture and lift it up with just one hand. And then you can put like sliders under, or, you know, you can move your furniture really easy. And so as a woman who doesn't have patience to wait for my husband to help me with stuff, I like those kind of tools. So I used that to lift this enormous amount of furniture. The stack was just a little bit shorter than I am, and I'm just shy of 5 feet. So we're talking about serious furniture, and it was vintage furniture. So it's Formica tabletops with very heavy gauge metal. Anyway, I put my hand underneath to tuck the tarp underneath while holding the furniture lifter, and the furniture lifter slipped. And bad. Anyway, yeah, it was really bad. It was worse than you can imagine, put it that way. Okay, so for these lids and for the label, I'm going to use these cool grays. I'm using C1 and C2, so these are just very, very light grays. And really what this is doing, in my opinion, is just kind of, the cap is, the cap and the label are just kind of white. This is just kind of showing that they're white with some shading. Let me go ahead and show you this color. So this one is very light. It's the lighter of the two. And then I'll add some shading with C2. And I'm going right over this heart here since I'm using such a light gray. I'm going to go in and color that heart red. But because I'm using such a light gray, it doesn't interfere with the red when I lay that on top. All right, so there's that, and I'm just curious about something. So I'm going to try it on one of them. I'm going to grab the Copic colorless blender. So this is color 0. And I'm wondering if I just kind of go down the center like this, that's where my highlight is, to kind of bleach that out. I'm not even waiting to see what it does. I'm just doing it. Since I didn't wait and kind of blend, I'm wondering if that'll be better. Just to kind of bleach that out a little bit. That's my Amazon order, I'm sure. Now once you do this, it does take a while to dry and kind of show up, but I think this is working. Should I do it one more? Oh, that really worked nice. It took away a lot of my kind of harsher not blending. That looks really good. Do I want to do it again? I like that. Now this probably wouldn't work if I was using darker colors, more saturated colors, but because these are pastels, I think that worked out really nice. Let me kind of show that to you a little closer. I think that came out really cute. See how it kind of just bleached down the middle? You can see it a little bit more in the darker colors. But I really like the way that looks. It looks like I tried a little harder. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. Oops, my magnets are sticking together. Let's see if I can pull them apart. Yep, all right. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna cut this apart like this, just because it's easier to kind of get my die and die cut these. Now, I could very easily run these through my brother's scan and cut since I made so many, but I really like the look of die cutting. I just like that kind of rounded edge around where it cuts, and so if I have a die for something, I use it. If I don't have a die, then I'll use my Brother Scan and Cut. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab this matching die. And I will line this up here. Just like that. Put it onto my, this is my mini Empress. So this is really small. I love it because it's electric. Then I don't have to crank anything, and I love it because it's tiny. So I also have the large Empress. I love them both, but to tell you the truth, I use the mini more often because it's just like a nice little A2 size area, and I just really love it. Okay, so I'm not going to bring you, well, maybe I will. Maybe I'll fast forward this part. I'm going to go ahead and cut them all just because I'm in the crafting mood. So I'm going to go ahead and take my time and cut all of these, and then I will be right back. All right, so we finished all that die cutting. And while I was doing that, I realized I didn't color in the hearts. So we're going to do that. And since I'm doing it after I had die cut, I'm going to go ahead and bring out this mini waffle flower mat because it'll just kind of help these from slipping, as you can kind of see. If I keep them on this glass mat, they're going to slide around when I color in that heart, and I don't want that to happen. So we're just going to put this here. Also, I was thinking about a couple of things while I was die cutting. A couple of advantages to having two die cutting machines, like I had mentioned that I have. I have a mini and then a regular size. And actually the regular size is a full size because it'll cut a full size sheet of letter paper, so it accommodates for that. Anyway, and I realize for some people that's a little excessive, and I totally get it. However, for me, there have been some great benefits. One is when you're using the mini, the plates are a lot smaller, so going through the die cutting machine, it's a lot quicker because you don't have to wait for like a full-size stack to go through your regular die cutting machine, for example. So when I'm doing little tiny things like this, it just helps to have this this shorter stack. However, if you have the full-size Empress, you could buy this mat set separately. You don't have to have the mini for it, and then you'll have that you'll cut down on the time it takes to die cut each item because you'll have a shorter stack. So you can also do that. And then the other advantage is when I have somebody come over and craft with me, I have two die cutting machines, so I can use one and they can use the other, for example, at their station. So anyway, okay, so I'm going to take R29. It's lipstick red. It's a beautiful, beautiful red. And I also wanted to mention that for my most frequently used Copic markers, I have my regular brush end, which is here. Oh, this is going to need a refill. But anyway, my brush end is there just like normal. And then the chisel end, I swapped out for a bullet nib. And this really comes in handy, especially like for doing this small little heart. Now I could use my my brush nib, not a problem. However, it is easier for me to use this bullet nib when I'm doing this tiny heart like that. You know, not that I'm not going to draw out of or color out of the lines using this tiny nib, but it sure helps prevent that. So this little heart, I'm not going to give any shading because it's just a little tiny little baby heart, but yeah, I forgot that little heart. So we're just going to get that colored in, and then we have enough to make 8 of this particular design. And I think that'll be perfect. 8 is, I probably don't even need 8, but you can see how this comes together pretty quick. So I do recommend, if you are making a card and you really, really love the way it comes out. I mean, this is going to be a simple card. This is not anything to like, oh my God, this is the most amazing card ever. It's a simple card, but I like the simplicity of it. And so I like the idea of making multiples, so I don't have to just give it away just one time. So anyway, all right, so I'm done with my Copic coloring. I'll go ahead and I will put this aside. And then I'm going to work on my shaker element. So these Copic markers I can put away. Oh, this is another thing I do. You know, I just got to mention everything. So I have this is a lid for a box at IKEA. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take this off, and I believe, yep, barcode's still on it. As you can kind of see that. It's just the lid to a box. And I use this for the Copic colors that I'm using. I use it for a couple reasons. Number one, it keeps my Copics together, right? And as I'm working, if you're working in a small area, instead of picking up all your Copics and stuff, you can just take this tray and just kind of move it aside when you're done working with it. So I really like that. And then also, when I'm done making a card, I tend to place the card near here, and I take my camera phone and I take a picture of the colors that I used. You can kind of see it there. So I just kind of put the card in the picture frame, and then I snap a picture of this because it shows me the color combinations that I used in case I ever want to reuse those color combinations, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get that out of the way over there. These cutting plates will go over here. And then let's work on the shape. So for the shaker, so I'm going to be using this set. I'm going to be using this. So in my original card that I made, actually I have it right here because I was doing it last night. So in the original card I made, I was using this kind of smaller circle that they have. By the way, oh my gosh, so I bent this metal die. It's really wonky. I tried to fix it, but it's still wonky. I might give it to my husband, make sure he can kind of flatten out without damaging the blades. But anyway, how this happened was I was working too fast. I had this here. I had my paper on top, and I have this under here, and I fed it through my die cutting machine like this without putting this plate on top. It was on the bottom like this, and I just went boom, and it curled my plate. It was terrible. This is the first time I've ever done that. And I was like, oh my gosh, you can see, like, it won't even lay flat. But it cuts just fine. But still, I'm a little traumatized by that. Another thing, while I have this out, and I mentioned this anytime I'm die cutting, my sandwich consists of a clean plate. It's not necessarily clean, as you can see, it has gunk on it. But I don't cut into this plate. Then I have a shim. Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. This is just a cardstock shim. I have my magnetic mat. And then I have a plate that I cut into, and this avoids warping on your plates. This is just amazing. And so as soon as this starts getting crazy and may even crack, then I buy a replacement set of clear plates. I move this one to the top as a cutting plate, and the brand new one that I'm not going to cut into goes to the bottom. So I only use one plate at a time. I only replace one plate at a time. I kind of rotate them. So that'll really help your plates stay straight and not get too warped. Okay, so that's another tip there. All right, so for my original card, as I mentioned, I used this size, but I think I'm going to go a little bit bigger. And I think I'm going to use a different one. I think I'm going to use, there's a couple. This is even bigger, but I think I'm going to use this one. So that. Put this here. I'll put these away. Ah, I can't believe this. So it totally doesn't lay flat. Jeez. Anyway, see? It's even falling off because it's not laying flat. Again, this is Queen & Company Circle Shakers. This is a nice little foundation shaker thing, you know, instead of it being shaped for a specific theme. These are just circles. And I purchased the circle shaker dies and the outline dies, because when I run out of foam refill or acetate sheets for my shaker, I want to be able to cut them myself, and so this outline die helps me with that. And I can go into another, I could do another video on that. I'll be sure to write that down. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna have to grab my acetate sheets. Now I keep my acetate sheets with my dies because they're clear and they're just easy to misplace. I usually have them in here with the foam, but I take them out and I put them with the dies just because I just don't want to lose them. Okay, so what we're gonna do, oh, pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna take this Craft Color by Gina K, and I'm gonna cut the background. So this is what I'm going to place all my sprinkles and toppers with, and then I will cut this out of white, and that's what's going to go on top. So this Craft Color is going to be my background. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And here you'll be able to see, this is, I don't even know if this is A2 size card, but I think it is. But you'll kind of see, it'll give you perspective as to how big these plates are. They're not that big. You can see my hand, see, not that big. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Okay, so this is going to be the background. Okay, and then, okay, I'm going to put that aside for now. And then I'm going to take another card panel. Again, this is just 271 GSM cardstock. And I want to cut the frame that's going to go on the very top level with this. But before I do this, I want to take this holographic overlay that's normally used for stickers, and I want to put it on here to kind of decorate this white cardstock just a little bit, just like that. I'm going to take my little squeegee thing and make sure any bubbles are out. Now another thing that you can do, one thing that I do if I put the holographic overlay on a sticker sheet, for example, is I will take my laminating machine and I will not apply the heat. I'll just run the rollers in the laminating machine, and I'll put this through the laminating machine, and it'll just really bond it really, really nice. So that's another thing you can do. So anyway, I just added overlay, as you can see. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this here, and cut into it, lay on it, and then you can save this piece for another card making project, because that comes out. And then we have this piece, and look at how pretty it looks. It's totally has some hollow. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. You can't really see it, huh? It's weird. Anyway, it's gorgeous. It's like a little opal, and it's just really, really, really pretty. Now, some of you may ask, okay, well, why can't we use this cutout piece as the background? And you could use that as the background. However, I find that it's kind of hard to line it up to fit exactly, because it's cut, it's, you know, it's the inside of the circle, so it's hard to line it up. Where I found if you buy the outline die, you can see here, it's a lot easier to just line it up and have a solid background, where this one would take a little more effort. Okay, hope that makes sense. Anyway, so there's that, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my embossing stuff out. Let's clean this up first, make sure we stay organized, because that is important. This here, okay. So I'm gonna stamp on here. I'm gonna be using the Sweet Stamp Shop. I'm gonna use this set here, which is Plan to Go. And it's really cute because it has some kind of Dr. Get Well stuff. It has this little shot. It has some pills. It's got an RX bottle. It's got a first aid kit. It's got a Band-Aid. I mean, it just like has all of that, right? It's just so cute. And even if someone were going, maybe having a root canal, you want to send them a get well, you know, they have a tooth, they have, you know, things like that. But anyway, so I think I'm going to use the syringe. I think I'll use the syringe, the pill, and the first aid kit. In my original design, I just used the syringe and the pill. So I think I'm going to use the syringe, the pill, and the first aid kit. Or do I also want the Band-Aid? I'm not sure. We'll find out. Okay. So we'll take that out. Again, I'm just using an acrylic block, just stamping directly. I'm not going to bring out the Misty for this one. And then I'm going to use, I have this folded heavier piece of paper that I use to collect my embossing powder and pour it back into the jar. So I'll have that on the side. I'm going to use Clair embossing powder, and I'm going to grab my anti-static tool, and I have my Versamark right here. Okay, so we're just going to do some stamping. First, I'm going to start by taking, this is by Tailored Expressions, and it's a anti-static powder tool. I love it. So we're just going to put that on there. I'm going to put that away. Okay, clean off my stamp, put it back. Grab the syringe. Right. So we're done with that. Okay, now we can go ahead and place that here. We don't want to wait too long. We don't want that to dry. All right. Once we have that covered, now I'm not in such a hurry, so I'm just kind of cleaning up a little bit. All right, so we're good. We're going to go ahead and pick this up, dust it off. Okay. And then we'll scoop this back in. So anyway, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to hold it with some tweezers here. And I'm just going to use my embossing tool to heat that up. You gotta let it run just a little bit so it can get hot. Medical stuff. It's so cute. All right, and it's just going to be in the background. It does not have to be perfect, and it's definitely not. So that'll be in the background, and then what I do next is I take my foam, and it's going to be this medium-sized one. And like I said, once I'm done with all of these, I can make my own. And what I do is I pop out this entire circle. So I keep the inner part that we're not going to use for the card, I keep it intact because that keeps my circle perfectly round. If I take it off, this may, you know, turn into a slight oval as I'm doing this. And so that's kind of important to me, or a tool that I think is worth mentioning. So I'm just going to place this in the center so it doesn't move. Actually, I can't because I'm going to put this whole thing on. So I'm only going to take off the release paper from the rim, which is the part that I need for my shaker card. And then I'm going to leave the inside covered like this because I'm going to end up removing it. But again, I just use it so that this stays a circle. So I'm just going to kind of place this on here like that. Now, if we were using the inner piece from the frame that we cut, you know, instead of using an outline die like this, we'd really have to get it right because the rim to adhere to this frame would be very narrow. So that's another reason why I like to purchase the outline dies. It just really helps make things a little bit easier. So once that is stuck down like that, then I go ahead and I remove this inner part. Just like that, okay? And then I put this into my scraps for foam tape because I can cut this up and use it to pop up elements for dimension. So I will go ahead and keep that. And then I'll put this away. Same with all of this outer part. I keep it all because it is pretty thick double-sided foam tape. So I keep that. Okay, so we have that. And so we're going to be able to put our shaker bits in here. I'm going to put 2 prescription bottles in here like this. And then I'm going to add some other cute stuff. Okay, so, but we need this. This is going to go on top. This is what I created with the overlay tape. So this is going to end up going on here like this with a piece of acetate. So I'll go ahead and create that real quick. Okay, so it's the medium-sized one. So let's see, we have small. I think this is it right here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my glue and go around this rim. Place that on top. And then I'm going to use a stamp block to weigh that down while the glue dries. Just like that. Okay, so another thing that I want to do is I want to take my anti-static tool, which is just like kind of like baby powder. It's just a powder, and I'm just putting it on my cut pieces because I used that purple tape to keep my die in place. I want to make sure there's nothing sticky on these, and that will prevent them from moving around in the shaker. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do the same thing in here. Just add a little bit of powder since we're dealing with adhesives and stuff. Now, sometimes when I'm making a shaker card, I will go ahead and like glue these in place like this. So it looks like they're shaking around, but really it's all the other bits and sequins and stuff that's moving around. And that just kind of keeps them right side up since they are directional. That way, you know, when it arrives, they're not both upside down or something like that. Not that it's a big deal. And I just sent one of these cards and I sent it without gluing it down, but I just wanted to add it as an option that you could glue these down so that they stay in place, but they look like a shaker bit. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that for this card since I'm going to be making 8. I might as well kind of show what I mean. Okay. And even like exaggerate one of them, you know what I mean? Just so that it seems kind of crazy. Let me put that up a little bit. Kind of like that. Now again, you don't have to do that, but it is a nice option. So then I'm going to take some shaker items, and I'm thinking, what do I want to use? I'm trying to think, maybe we'll use some violet, because maybe that'll look nice. So let's see. So these are all my violet options. And I have, if you're wondering what this is, I do have a video on my channel. So just, you can search sequin storage or bead storage or something like that. I have this upside down. Okay. So there are the violet options. And I can already see that there are some really cute options. So I'm going to take this, bring it over here. And look at these hearts. Now, I don't know where these are from. And I'm glad I put some anti-static in there, because that's going to help when I drop these in. They're not just going to kind of stick to everything. So I'm just going to drop a couple of these lavender ones like that. And then this is gorgeous too. We're gonna probably want to get some teal in there. I mean, so many gorgeous, too many options, put it that way. Let's see. Now this has teal and lavender, so I could use that, grab a couple, but I don't think I'm going to. Oh, these stars are so pretty, but they're not light enough, so I'm going to use these, just a couple of these stars. No, I'm going to use this. Now this is from, this I know is from Queen and Company, and it's one of my favorite. They have different colors of this, and they're just like little diamonds. They're just so pretty. So we'll put a couple of those. Or more than a couple. Now I'm going to be using teal in the rest of the card. That's why I'm adding a little bit of lavender here. I really like this too. So this one I did label. This is Catherine Puller. It's called Love Ladies. So let's see what this, well, it might have too much yellow. I wish I could use my thumb, but I can't. But look at how pretty. Let's see. Oh, that's pretty. Because the yellow kind of matches the craft. So we'll go ahead and use that. A little bit of that. And then, what else? Then I'm going to use some Clair. I think I'm going to use some Clair options. But look at how pretty. Just some nice lavenders to match that pill box. We'll put this away. And we'll grab the Clair options. So that was violet. Here are some Clair options. And let's see. I like a lot. I really like these. Okay. And I don't know where, I think, you know what? I really think this is from like Michael's or something like that. But these are iridescent, clear iridescent, so we're going to use those. And then I want the disco ball ones from Gina K. So, and I think I have them in a separate area because they're like my favorite. Okay, well those are cute. So let me go ahead and grab those. Let me grab them. I use them so much that they're in a little drawer here near me, but I had it blocked by a clipboard. So anyway, this is Gina K Disco Balls, one of my favorite shaker elements. So we'll put some of that in there. I think that's perfect. All right, so now time to seal this up. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the adhesive. And seal this up before anything gets crazy. All right. Mix up that sequins. And look at how cute. So cute. And I love that the bottles kind of stay stationary. The other one that I made, they moved around and I kept like trying to get them right side up. So we have a little, there we go. Now next time I think I'll put them a little bit lower so it'll seem like they're within the mix. Right now, in my opinion, I think they're a little too high and they don't feel like they're really in the mix. But see how this is covered a little bit? That's how I want it to be kind of in the mix. Or just add more sequins. Okay, so that's the shaker part. That part's done. And now we're going to go ahead and, this is my card base. This is eventually going to go here or around here. And then we're going to work on the other elements that are going to go on the top and the bottom. And for that, I chose this Waffle Flower Skinny Stripes. This is a great foundation die to have. I feel like it's something that is so nice to have in your stash because it's so universal. So it just cuts strips. You could always take your cutter and cut strips yourself. This just does it really fast and really even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this longer one and I'm going to take, where is that? Oh, here it is. I'm going to take some of these sheets of cardstock from scrapbook.com. I'm going to take that one, this one, and let's say that one. Or should it be this one? No, I think the lighter one. The gray is so pretty too. But no, I think that's what I'm going to stick with. These three colors. I'm going to run them through. I'm going to move it over to the side like this, just so I can get this in here. Or I can just cut these in half. Let me do that. That might be easier. I'll just take all three and cut them down. And then I don't have to worry about having that right to the side. I can have it in the center. Place that right there. And run that through the die cutting machine. And like I said, you can absolutely cut these strips by yourself, but you can see how it just cuts several of them for you. I like that. Oh, there they are. Cut this one. Okay, so I've cut those. And then I'm going to take another card panel. I think I'm going to have to cut one. I had a whole bunch pre-cut, but I've used them all. So I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to grab larger paper trimmer. And I'm going to just cut this into quarters real quick. All right, so now I have some panels. And I'm going to go ahead and use this just to glue this down. I'm going to put it this way since I cut the longer ones. And I'm not going to worry about being so perfect about it. I'm just going to glue these down. Okay. So the initial part, I guess I want to be a little perfect about it. I'm going to put it a little bit lower so I can see. Yeah, you guys can still see. Okay, so I'm just going to put it here like this, just so I have one line so I can line up the first line and then the rest will just kind of go. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue like this. And set that down. Like that. Good enough. I just do that for the first line. And then I'll put a line right here. And then a line above. Okay, I think that's good for now. I could keep going and grab another panel, but that's good for now. I'll show you what I'll do with that. So the rest of these strips, I'll go ahead and place it with the die in the same pocket as the die in case I need them for another time. So we don't waste that. All right, so now we have this, right? I'll grab my paper trimmer. And I'm just gonna go ahead and trim off the edges just so that they're straight, like that. And then I'm gonna cut the strips. I may even trim off a little bit of that white. But anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick it in here, and I'm not measuring or anything, but I'm just gonna kind of cut it at a diagonal, like that, okay? So I have two pieces like this. And I didn't decide whether I wanted 3 bars or 4, so we'll kind of look at this. So I imagine this is gonna go here, and then I imagine this is gonna go here. This is gonna go here. I like a lot of white space, so, and then a teal sentiment banner is gonna go here. I'm noticing you're getting a lot of glare. There you go. Okay. So I think that's actually really cute. So you could keep them uneven the way these are, or you can take them and stack them like this and just kind of trim that off if you want it to be perfect, or even go like this and trim this off. But I'm fine with it being uneven. I think that's just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that. I'm even thinking maybe, no, I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna keep it really simple for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and place those here. I'm gonna put a magnet here so this doesn't move too much. Take some glue and put this down. I'm not going to put down the shaker element yet till I do the sentiment, so we're going to do that right now. I'll go ahead and I'll move this to side. You can also use these magnets to kind of hold things down also, to hold things while the glue dries, like that. All right, so now I'm gonna create my sentiment, and we're almost done. Okay, so I'm gonna use these two. I'm gonna use Feel Better, or you could even use Thinking of You. You could use any of these really. And I'm going to use a combination of banners. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I was going to use simple wavy banners, but I'm also going to use fancy wavy banners. So I'm going to use this one right here along with this one right here. So I'm going to use those two together. So I'm going to cut the outline, the background, which is going to be this, with this kind of darker teal here. Let's put this on here. We're just going to use a scrap here. So I'm going to use that like that. And then with a white scrap, I wonder if this will fit on this little tiny piece that I cut off, and I think it will. I'm going to cut that. I wonder if these will cut together. They're different weights, and so that's my concern. But I'm going to go ahead and try to cut them together. Let's see how this one did. Okay, fine. And this one's fine. Okay, we could cut them together. Perfect. All right. So now we have that sentiment banner, and then this one will just kind of nestle right in here, and I just think it looks really pretty. So now with this die, you can see this is the die that I used for the white piece that I'm going to stamp on. You can't see through it. So because you can't see through it and align after you've stamped, I recommend that you cut it first and you stamp second because you can't see through it, right? You're just blindly going to put this somewhere, so can't really do that. So we're going to cut first, and then we're going to stamp. And because I do this often, I have a little template right here. I keep this in the back of these wavy sentiments, so I reuse it. And I'm just going to place this right here in the lower right-hand corner, or any corner you wish. Place that there. Grab my stamp. Trying to think of which one I want to do. I'll do the Feel Better. Grab this, and I'm gonna set it down in here where I would want it to stamp. So I'm gonna bring it a little bit lower off camera, just so I can really see that and get it in the right position, or close to the right position. Put it that way. Okay, let's just say that that's good. And then I'm going to pick it up with my Misty. Okay, and then what I could do is create 5,000 of these, right? Because I have a little template. So I'm going to drop this in here, in this little open space. I might go the other way because it didn't drop in quickly. There we go. And then I'm going to take this Versafine Clair in Warm Breeze. So Versafine is my favorite inks because they're so crisp. And then as for colored inks, my favorite are Catherine Puller and Close to My Heart. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and stamp that down. And then you have a perfect sentiment, so nice and easy. And again, you could keep going, right? Okay, so there's that. All right, we're almost done. Okay. So then what we're going to do is glue this to here, and then this will go here. And it's just a very, very, very simple card, okay? So very good for mass producing, or you could mass produce the complicated ones too. I've done it before. I want to be a little careful with the sentiment because the Versafine is a pigment ink, and so I gotta be careful because I don't want to smear it. Hold that down. Okay. So cute. Okay, just gonna wait a little bit, but meanwhile, we'll look at how cute this shaker is. How cute is that? It's so cute. I love all the lavender in there. That's just so pretty. And the hearts. So cute. All right. So then we'll take this, glue it up, place it here. And then we're going to place it on here. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and use some small glue dots. I'm going to turn this over and add some dimension to this flag. Ooh. So that while it's going through the mail, these don't kind of crush down. We're going to add glue. You could even do some ink blending as a circle here as a little bit of a backdrop so that it bounces off. Ooh, that sounds like a good idea. Of course I'm thinking it right now. No, I like all the white. I like all the white. Okay. How cute. I'm just gonna grab this block. Okay, so let's clean up a little bit, and then I'll show you a close-up. All right, so we're all cleaned up now, and I have my super cute card. Nice and simple, yet with some really pretty details. Like, I love the holographic outer rim of the shaker. I think it's really pretty. I love the colors, the lilac with the turquoise, with the craft in the background. And a lot of white. I love a lot of white. I just think it looks really pretty. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.